Hello everybody, my name is Sven Hogdahl and today I'd like to speak to you a little bit about American public history and the architect of the Capitol in particular. You can visit that at aoc.gov. The architect of the Capitol is essentially an organization that helps to build, restore, renew historic sites in the U.S. Capitol specifically. It also deals with the House office buildings, the Senate office buildings, and the Supreme Court, the U.S. Botanic Gardens. Essentially, this is a place where you'd probably want to go visit if you want to get into the history of the new nation. The reason that the architect of the Capitol got my attention is because when I was in college around 20 years ago, I did an internship for a U.S. Congressman, Steve Largent at the time, from Oklahoma. And I was given the task as an intern to give tours of the U.S. Capitol. A funny story is that on one of my first tours, I got lost with the group I was tour guiding. They happened to be members of the Australian Parliament, so that was pretty embarrassing. But the Capitol's huge. The underground tunnels around there are huge. All of the different connections and buildings and rooms are immense and definitely worthy of taking a guided tour with someone who's better than myself at some point. The history of the U.S. Capitol began in 1793, and it's pretty interesting because eventually the first president of the United States, George Washington, laid its first cornerstone, and of course the Capitol was now a symbol of the new nation. One of the best reasons to go visit the Capitol in Washington, D.C. is to see the artwork in the rotunda and elsewhere throughout the building. A couple of the pieces that are famous are the painting of the Declaration of Independence being signed, and then also George Washington resigning his commission as the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Army. Not only that, but you also have a couple more pieces with Washington and the surrender of Lord Cornwallis at Yorktown, and then the surrender of General Burgoyne, another British general during the Revolutionary period. One of my favorite rooms in the U.S. Capitol is Statuary Hall, otherwise known as the Whispering Room. There you can find statues from basically representing every state in the Union. And what's cool about the room is you can stand, if you stand in a certain spot, you can whisper, and then because of the acoustics of the room, you can hear the other side. And I can only imagine what it must have been like when representatives were actually using the room to deal with real legislation and they could hear each other across the room. Some of the famous revolutionary figures depicted in Statuary Hall are Samuel Adams, Ethan Allen, Robert Livingston, and others. All in all, I would recommend anybody going to visit the Capitol so that you can experience this history firsthand. It's definitely worth your while to check out. There's so much more to see in Washington, D.C., and I personally can't wait to go and take another trip there. It's been about 20 years for me, so I'm due. Thanks for watching.